the calendar is disrupted now. What are the measures the ministry is putting in place? That is the first question. The second one is to the people in the Northeast. They are asking that, what are the ministry doing? Have they partnered with a service provider for e-learning? I think those two questions are directed to the Honorable Minister. The people in the Northeast, they are also looking at, can digital education be a solution in this case, taking into consideration the Boko Haram insurgencies? Those are the three questions that were directed to the Honorable Minister. Please, I think we should allow the Honorable Minister to come online so that he can give us solutions to these questions. Then the Honorable Minister can even excuse us. I think he has really tried. We really appreciate you, sir. So the Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you very much, my fellow participants, and thank you for all the contributions. Nigeria is really a fantastic country, and when you hear from all our stakeholders around the world, you will appreciate that Nigeria really is blessed, and we can do much better. So I've stayed on because, like I promised in my opening address, this is part of my engagement with all stakeholders. There are no bigger stakeholders in the education ecosystem than the Nigerian youths, for whom the country is being prepared and for whom all this manpower we're talking about is being raised. I would like to then address the questions that have been put to me, while I thank His Excellency, the Governor of Nasarawa State, Professor Tony, Professor Bernard Odo, Alaji Yakubu, the patron, the grand patron of our, I'm a youth, so well, you're our grand patron as well. So I'd like to thank all our participants, and I can't thank everybody enough. And I'm enriched. Professor George Will has more or less given a wrap, because when I read his speech ahead of his presentation, I felt he had captured elaborately some of the things that the ministry has been doing, and he's investigated us properly. So I appreciate all of the effort and the interest, because truly speaking, and I often say this, yes, my PhD is in law. Yes, I'm in the Ministry of Education, but then the Ministry of Education is not the only educator. And if you listen to our professor of ethics, professor of philosophy, the truth of the matter is that the underlying principles of education is enlightenment. It's the educo, to make people enlightened. And that is the goal of everybody, whether you're a religious body, whether you're a father, mother, anything, wherever you are an educator, you need to bring to light. The formal way of doing this is what we at the organized sector, in the education sector, are doing. Then, in addressing the questions that have been put, you will realize from these answers that indeed it is not possible at this point, at the time where we are in Nigeria, to completely deliver primary education online. We think this is a good time to introduce children at that level to all the facilities. However, you must realize that as a country with about 200 million people, we are actually a very poor country, because we do not have the kind of resource modalities. Resource is not only when you sell oil, and I want people to understand this. The resource base of the country is so scant. We are not at that point yet. Everything we use is imported. Every laptop, every tablet you've seen here is either built in China or by some. So it's a net income loss. It's just moving things out. Training people is the most important infrastructure. The human infrastructure is the most important infrastructure. And it must please us to try to reach everybody. But we do not have these platforms at the moment to distribute to everybody. And even where we have some, you must identify also, we are still constrained. The people who build our power systems are still Siemens and the Germans, and for many years, Nigerians have not developed any indigenous other way of providing power. We don't buy generators from India, we're buying it from everywhere. So the entire resource of Nigeria goes out to just provide the comforts that Nigeria needs to be at the 20th century. So really, let's stop beating one another. We are all in this all together. It may not be possible to have 30 million children have laptops in Nigeria. The total number of laptops and computers imported, if you use the custom service figures, are still below 3 million in Nigeria. And that includes all the 3, 4, 4 every other person has as a big man. So it may not be true that these children have it. Android phones, on the other hand, have penetrated a little bit more. But then, like Professor George Will also pointed out, they are not also widespread, they're not available. So if you come to the ministry's website, yes, we've developed content. Yes, we've tried to make this available to all the suburbs. Operating within Nigeria in the confines of his law. Nigeria is a federal government. There are 36 sub-nationals. When the governor of Nasarawa State was on, he told you what he did to investigate the baseline from which he can grow. Nasarawa, with nearly 430 secondary schools, is a very small state compared to a state like Anambra State that has nearly 1,000 primary schools, or Lagos with 2,000 secondary schools. So really, each state must determine what they can do with the resources that are available to them. Then our biggest problem, and if you listen to my brother in London, he went straight for the jugular. He said, look, teachers are at the root of this. From the beginning of education, education has very little to do with infrastructure as it is with the teacher. Whether it's your father or your mother or whoever is going to become your teacher, that person needs to be a good teacher. And the quality of that teacher is what is at the root of all this problem. When he was speaking, I was laughing because really, in Finland, they don't earn the highest pay. Finland produces the best teachers, but they don't pay them the highest. It's just that Finland is still at the place where Nigeria was in before the 60s, where teachers are respected. You want to go and become a teacher because of the respect in the society. Teachers in Nigeria today, people who are attending colleges of education as males will not find wives because nobody wants to marry a teacher. That's how bad it is. Nobody is interested in doing it because teachers don't even get the pay. I'm speaking to you, I'm still at my desk in the Ministry of Education, even as at this time. I'm going through letters from teachers in private institutions who are hired, but because of COVID-19, they've not earned the salary. I've been running around trying to figure out whether there is a way in this world to get some palliative to them. That's the worst hit. Those who are in the employ of states, and everybody is trying to find a way to get on the federal payroll. Smuggle, they do anything they can do because really at the state level they don't pay them. They owe them for weeks. It doesn't, as paltry as their salary is, they will still not pay them. So how are you ever going to get people to teach? How are you ever going to get them interested in the students? If you like, buy all the gadgets you want in the world. How are you going to do that? If the quality of the human element is not good. Last year at the Teachers' Day celebration, I then opened a vista. I said, since we don't have all the money in the world to do this, can we make this a respectable profession? Can we at least offer them life insurance? Can we provide them with complete data? Can we provide them with, there are so many incentives that we came up with, the 5-point initiative that I'm negotiating with Nigerian Union of Teachers. We started the Teacher Registration Council. We have now registered 2 million teachers that need to be upgraded. We want to take their BVMs and take their NMCs so that anybody who is going for training, we know what he's being trained for and why he's being trained. We are trying to promote girl child education by getting female teachers in Northern Nigeria to attend colleges of education, even on our bursary. So there's a lot that can be done. And in the only way, because there's no way to get teachers to the Northeast. The Buhari administration has almost bent itself over backwards, gone and taken loans and given to all the 17 northern states to at least fuel the idea of solving the out-of-school children syndrome. But you can never teach if there is nobody who is available who knows what to do. So we are advising that we get this all together. I can't comment like a social commentator because I'm in government. So my job is to solve them, try to keep tackling them, try to keep engaging. So whenever I hear from stakeholders like this, I'm enthused, and I'm going to continue doing this. So I'm going to answer the second question of disruption in the school calendar. Part of the engagements I've taken out from here today is also we are reworking the plan. Most people who have heard me speak on PTF I've explained that because of the science and the data that we have in the country, with our numbers still rising, we haven't peaked. We may not be willing to introduce our children to schools at the moment. But what we're going to try to do is to rescale it. Those who, some of our students who at the moment in their exit years, we would like to draw them into the schools briefly, because when only them are in school, we can achieve social distancing, we can achieve some spacing, we can achieve some control, and then we can use this period, a 4-week period, to do some revision in classes, get a few teachers who are the teachers that are for those subjects that which they are being examined, and then get them to complete all their WAEC exams, and then when they're out, then we can review the year. There is nothing wrong with issuing of automatic promotion. There's no need to ensure that everybody, but for the exit years, we must examine them. However, for the those of you who are a bit older will remember that in 1970, in order to take the academic curricula forward, we agreed that we could move everybody to the next class. But the exam years must be dealt with. Now, the third question, and which is a corollary of that, are we partnering with service providers? I can tell you, and I will use this platform to thank every Nigerian. Nigerians have been wonderful. Service providers, all the Airtel, MTN, Glo, 9Mobile, they've made available free, they've reduced data for the ones that are open, because of course you can imagine the bandwidth that they're using now is a big mod. And then, but for education channels, they've also made them free. And I've announced this repeatedly, and it's available on the Ministry of Education website, so you can log in from everywhere. So you see what our responses are on COVID-19. But those are key things that they are all doing, and a lot of other people are offering us resources. On my desk here, or on online platform, people are developing all kinds of things. If you have challenge, of course, everybody can be met. A man in Konduga may not be in Borno State with all the work that Zulum is doing there, because Zulum is actually an educator himself before he became the governor of the place. So he's bent over himself, bent into three, trying to get our people to learn, in building new schools, getting everybody ready. People are working. A lot of them are doing the best they can. But you see, the gaps are still there, because like somebody pointed out, the governor of Nasarawa pointed out, he may not have the kind of resources that is available to Lagos State. 60% of Nigeria's resources are in Lagos State, and everybody pays their taxes there. Almost, if you go to Ogun State with 22 universities, the amount of payee taxes that they collect there, you cannot collect that in Nasarawa State. So they won't have the same kind of money to spend on anything. It doesn't matter whether it's road or school or any kind of infrastructure. They're not at par. So this informs what people is available to them, and our job is to manage them. I've also heard, and we'll react a little bit to curriculum. Curriculum is key, what you teach, but people to teach them are more important. You may know everything, you may have all the best curriculum, and you don't have any delivery point. Even online classes and everything, you still need to come back to who does them. Even if you remember, some of the good professors you see today were trained under mango trees, but the important is that they had good teachers, people who are interested in making human beings out of them. And that is what we need at this point. All of us should work together to try to make human beings out of everybody else. That's our mandate. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, just a quick one, sir. This is not my question. It's one of the questions, but I feel like it's very important. It's sacrosanct. This question talks about safeguarding in learning institutions, especially in primary school. That so many children are vulnerable and face abuse, and it appears that we sweep this under the carpet. Now, of recent, this issue of race has kind of dominated our minister to.
Yes, I can comment on that quickly. Yes, you're correct. It's a problem for us, like the society, and this educational ecosystem is a microcosm of the larger society, and it represents it at all times, whether it's at the primary. If you have people who are child molesters and you get them to become teachers, you're going to have the problem of child molester. If you have people who are guardians of people and they're bad, so from at any point where you are, it's still, go back to where the ethics of who we are. who we are as a people, what we are able to do. People, you don't need to come to school to rape your house girl or 3-year-old. If you listen to the news in Nigeria and you hear what is going on, you will probably just puke at what you hear. And for me, we've had the Safe School Initiative for a while, and the Ministry of Education has been monitoring Safe School initiatives. All teachers are being monitored. We try to, especially the ones that are within the federal government employ. But it's difficult to govern the spaces that are outside the federal government employ, because in places like Shagari local government in Sokoto, for instance, if you have no way of communicating back, how are you ever going? This Nigeria is the number of people who live in urban, a percentage of children in urban schools are very, very few. So around the country, the information network is what, but we are trying to ensure with all of that. And the Minister of Interior and I myself have had an extensive discussion about being able to send civil defense people to be not just megad or security guard in a school, but civil defense who are trained 2-3. But Nigeria is a very large country. Don't forget that we have nearly 115,000 primary schools in Nigeria. 115,000 primary schools alone we probably don't have enough men to even go manpower to go around. But we're working in this direction, and it's something that all of us are interested in. You're correct, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much, sir. I think you have really done justice to that. I need to appreciate you. And I think we will also read one or two other questions. But before we do that, please, let's just bring in Dr. Ray. Dr. Ray is the Secretary General of National Nigeria Youth Congress. Dr. Raymond Edo. Dr. Raymond Edo is a professor of, is a PhD holder in economics from New York University. Dr. Raymond, please, are you there? Dr. Raymond. Is it there? Okay. Okay, please, Dr. Raymond, please unmute yourself and come online.
Okay, I'm here, please.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. My sincere appreciation goes to everyone in this meeting. You guys are really, really wonderful. I think the past speakers, I think they said it all. So I would like to say thank you to my older brothers, most especially the Honorable Minister of Education. I really, really appreciate him so much. Most of the issues he responded to, I think shows that yes, he is not just there in the office, but rather he's taking his time to really look into what are the challenges and the way forward also. So I really, really want to thank him so much. And my great thanks also go to the governor of Nasarawa State. Thank you so much, sir, for being a big brother to us. Now I have more confidence that we have some of the state executives who are behind us and who are also ready to partner with the youth or encourage us, because when you working on a platform like this, if you don't have the courage from your older ones, definitely is not gonna work. So I really want to thank the executive governor of Nasarawa State for everything. Then my big thanks also goes to the chairman board of trustee, who is also my older brother, Yakubu Shandan. I thank him so much. Then the president of Nigerian Youth Congress, who has always been the champion of this movement or platform. You guys are wonderful. Everything that you guys said here, I think is something that really, if we put them in place, we're definitely gonna move forward, and by special grace of God, we'll have a better future in education. 2 points that I'd like to make on this COVID-19 right now. Yes, sure, the educational system is definitely not gonna be the same anymore. But as most leaders in other part of the world, they said the COVID-19 is not gonna go so soon, but we should learn to live by COVID-19. So if we must live by this COVID-19 in education, how do we take the education forward, and how do we also structure this educational system to the local community? Because the truth is, the local community, if we have to do all with the local community. So I want the Honorable Minister of Education to really look into this, because children in rural and community in Nigeria are being left behind, as they are not equipped to adapt to the new system of education right now. So I really want the Honorable Minister to look into this for us. And the platform is strictly youthful platform. We try to put a whole lot together, and one of our main agenda in this is to educate every young person in Nigeria, which by the special grace of God, we one or two programs we are working on or putting in place. Every child must be educated in Nigeria. So I really want the Honorable Minister to help partner with us more, and our other keynote speakers, most especially the Special Advisor to the President on Student Affairs, to partner with us so we'll be able to achieve this. I know it's not going to be easy, but definitely if we partner together, we're all going to achieve this. So I really want to thank everybody. They've said it all. Our past speakers, they said it all. So I don't want to take much of our time, but rather to just extend my key thanks to each of the speakers. And hopefully we'll still be bringing each and everybody again, most especially the Minister of Education. We'll still be bringing you on this platform again, because we need you. We need the Governor of Nasarawa State, because these are people with great experience in driving what we really want to achieve in this platform. Thank you so much for everything. I really thank everybody.
Quick, Honorable Minister. In terms of, we're talking about moving education forward now, and we're trying to analyze where the problems were. One of my observations has been when states have come in, make some regulation or some policy, and then take over people's property, take over private schools, take over missionary schools, but unfortunately run them to the ground. The question now is, are there any plans to sort of make some law to give these schools back to the missionaries who own them, or the private people who own them? I'll give you an example. So my grandfather was the first person to build a private secondary school in Abeokuta. It's called MacJoe Grammar School. This school was taken over by the government since the 70s or the 60s. It's a shadow of what it looks like. Buildings have caved in, trees are growing in between the building. My question is, if the government cannot run schools because of, it's difficult, just give it back to the people that own it. So when you come in and say, I want to do free education, right? The way to do that is you pay for the education. You don't usurp someone else's property and say, well, I want to run free education in my state, therefore I'm taking over people's private property and I'm going to run it. I feel like that's an illegality.
Quick one. Missionary schools or schools take over. You see, I explained to you that Nigeria runs a federation, and the education sector is on the concurrent legislative list. This means that the federal government would be doing this thing, and state governments would also be doing it. There are no places where the federal government took over secondary schools. We are taken over by their own state governments. Now, what states have been told to do, and we have discussed this with a lot of the states, is exactly what you have offered. If you cannot manage this, give it back to those who own it. So some states have. And in fact, one of the popular schools in Lagos is now a private school, St. Gregory. St. Gregory is now almost like a private school where they determine how much you pay to go to the school. Now, all other states, we cannot really, Nigeria runs a federation, so subnationals are extremely powerful in Nigeria. There's hardly anything a federal government can do to a state governor. That's the biggest constraint to education, really, because the disparity in the ability, the capabilities of teachers and the education process is so varied around Nigeria. It's completely inconsistent. Lagos is moving at a different speed. Anambra and Imo at a different speed. So that's why you hear cutoff mark for a child who is coming out from Imo State to take a common entrance examination. You give a cutoff mark for a child at 330, but a child who's coming out of Yobe, where probably only one person filled the form or two persons filled the form, and then you have to find a way to bring him into the system. And people are complaining because if you allow only the way things are, some people just overrun the entire place. So in order to grow a country, you need to allow each part of the to liaise and become, so we all can fuse, so we can become a nation. But the ownership of primary schools or secondary school, federal government has not taken over anyone from anybody, and we don't have anyone to return. But we've advised, and we've also advised governments to please return those you cannot. And I think in Imo State, I'm almost very sure of this because I got a letter from the government there showing that they've returned some secondary schools, secondary schools. In fact, one in my area, they've returned it to the Anglican diocese, the bishop of the Anglican diocese, and he shared that with me because I work with them on that. So I know that around the country, some governors have realized the same point you're making and are almost acting. Some governors are living in denial and may not have come to this point. So please approach your governor through in your state and see how that happens. The second thing somebody asked was, yes, about rural children. I already addressed this. I said, truly speaking, that is the weakest point in the whole COVID problem, because the gap between those who can afford it. I mean, Professor Nari here, he lives in Port Harcourt. Unari knows that in Port Harcourt, you may have access. But once you leave Port Harcourt and you enter, you're going towards Ekbema at the fringes of River State, or you're in Kalabari region. Sometimes in the waterways, there are no children with any laptops that you can see or tablets that you can see. You know that for a fact. So we agree that this gap for children is huge. And the disparity between those who are in urban settings and whose parents can afford to buy them even the handset, buy everything, is so wide. So the sooner we can get children who do not have the same advantages back to the limited one that we can even give them, the better for all of us. I agree with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you responding that.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
So much.
Thank you, please. Honorable Doctor, as a question.
Honorable Minister.
Please.
Sir.
Honorable Minister, I think I have a personal. Honorable Minister, I think I have a personal question I want to ask. When you were speaking, you were so dispassionate. I think I said when you were speaking, I was so touched because you were speaking like a comrade. You're not even speaking like a government official. You are speaking with passion. And that is why I begin to be happy that Mr. President appointed you as a minister, because some of these are former ministers. I don't even know what they were doing there. Now, I want you to do something for us, which I know with the way you are speaking, you will do it. Because that is one of the area where you've actually shown to Nigerian people and Nigerian youth and Nigerian students that you actually came and conquered. There is a very serious problem in the ministry of education or in the education in the country. The issue of HND, the issue of HND BSc dichotomy. I want you, during this your tenure as minister, you should solve that problem. That is the only way we can be convinced that you actually want Nigeria to move forward, because it's a problem, a very serious problem. Then if you can't solve it, I would advise that you should scrap polytechnics. You should scrap them, because even the polytechnic, we have the 70-30 ratio. How can you be offering conventional subject in polytechnic education? It's supposed to be a technical institutions. So if you begin to solve those problems, so that we know those people who are coming up with polytechnics will be technicians, because you cannot be offering accounting, public administration, and all kinds of subjects in polytechnic. So these are the problem. So solve that problem for us. I will be very, very happy. Please do that for us.
Prof.
No, but it's a serious question that I think the minister, I don't know why he's trying to be quiet about it. Is there any problem with that issue?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me, Honorable Minister? I say, is there any problem in that issue? Why is it that every government is not?
Yes, I said the question is noted and that it's been addressed already. There are issues around it because of the laws that created the Polytechnic Act and the 2019 Amendment Act, and what they can do and what they cannot do. It's a question of law, sir. And the National Assembly has passed an amendment last year, 2019 Polytechnics Amendment Act, as the regulations. Now, if the National Assembly wants to unbutton this, and why they want, but the truth is that in the design of the education ecosystem, polytechnics have a completely legitimate role to play. Their job is not to, you see, the confusion in Nigeria is somebody begins to, is being trained as to go and do something. Halfway, he thinks that there is no money to be made in that direction. He heads out to custom to go and use the same thing he learns to go and look for, to go and wage people, hold people on the road to shoot them. They are not the same thing you learned in the Polytechnic. So when you come for that, you're now moving away from completely what it was that you went to do in the first place. You see, I'll go back to Professor when he was talking about ethics. Ethics is at the key of what Nigeria lacks. We need to be focused as a country. There is nothing wrong with being a professional electrical contractor, electrical technician, they are the ones who run things. Their salary and their scaling is good. We need that manpower. We are the ones also invest. That is why if you go around Nigeria, you will see what they call skill acquisition centers. Every woman who becomes the wife of a governor will tell you that she's building skill acquisition center. After the commissioning, that day they finish commissioning, they lock it up and weed will overgrow it for the next 10 years until another person comes to do the same program. So around Nigeria, we have all these places scattered and they tell you the skill acquisition center. If we need skills, yet the people who are doing our POP are from Benin Republic. After this, we finish building this. To build the skill acquisition center, you have to go and bring people from Benin Republic to come and build the building first, to lay tile, to do, something is wrong with the fundamentals of our thought process.
Hello? Hello? Yes, as a take home for me, I know that the Federal Ministry of Education has outlined a lot of recommendations for reopening of school. And then these recommendations have been placed before the National Assembly, as well as other stakeholders. And I'm sure that's why the Minister of State does not want to rebel so much at this point. because there is a lot in those recommendations for gradual, phased reopening of schools, for platooning, for a checklist that universities, schools, and colleges must meet before schools can be reopened. I also want to say that I think there's also need for some form of grants to schools, especially in private schools, because we need to improve on infrastructure if we talk about online education. And then these private schools on their own cannot do it. There is need for grants, even to government schools, as public schools, as well as the private schools. I believe that some of the COVID-19 funds that has been donated by people, international organizations, and so on, can be used in that regard, where schools can have some grants to improve, and upgrade facilities or infrastructure to aid online learning. Somebody asked whether we can do only online learning. I don't think for now it is possible, but I believe that with the mix we have, face-to-face, online, as well as blended teaching, we can do that. Because if you look at some communities, urban areas, there is no way we can have online or 100% internet access. But we can have some form of graded or school forms where maybe students must go to class, but we can divide them to different phases, morning, afternoon, or evening, and so on, so that we can accommodate them in the class to still teach them, where we can maintain social distancing and other things. I think this is my take. And universities and schools, before they reopen, must meet government checklists, which will include attempts at preventing COVID, because COVID is still real here with us. Isolation centers, beautiful or equipped clinics in the universities and schools, as well as a good referral system that can allow the medical personnel in these universities or schools to know when to refer patients or when to take the appropriate action. And I think with this, we can get by until COVID passes away. Thank you.
Okay. I think all the points have been identified, marshaled, and then resolved. What is left now is implementation. In every seminar, webinar that we attend, we always have the problem of implementation. What is the next step? Or what are the next steps? From my point of view, as a user in California, we are available to consult. We did that for countries like Nepal, in former Balkan countries like Macedonia, Kosovo, Slovenia, Serbia. We have attended meetings with them. We've supported them with a creative online learning system. There are areas where new platforms can be built, which is not available in Nigeria. You have to build it. If you rely on commercial platform, it won't work. You have to take it there. You have to do needs assessment. We need a need assessment at every level, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Once we have needs assessment, then we can now discuss how teaching can go online. And we are available, like I said. I'm here in the United States. Please don't go to any bigger schools because they won't do a thorough job for you. I will tell you now, many bigger schools are not even good at it in the US, except those schools that started originally online, because we went through the pain and suffering. And as preposterous as that would be from the way we were treated, I think I can now say with full confidence that if we are approached by government, then we can solve some of these problems. I'm very sure of that. Now, let me address. No, one more thing. The issue of the issue of those students who are about to graduate. We have to take stock of those students who are graduating. Some students might have carryovers and they just have a course to go. Final year. These are vulnerable areas. Let every university identify that, and then a special online program will be provided for them to be able to graduate and go away. don't forget that a semester is 15 hours under the Carnegie Foundation directives. 15 hours, that's why when a course is 3 credits, you are saying 3 credits times 15 weeks. So 15 weeks with dead week, one week, that make it like 3 months and a week. So 4 weeks now are gone. So all these have to be taken into consideration when you are coming up with a new semester, a new calendar for the universities. But we are private. Ours is to meet the hours, meeting the hours. You know, we have universities like National University in America that I taught for them initially when I came from the US, briefly. I wasn't comfortable with it because they were overworking me. 5 weeks, the semester is over. Because the whole idea is the hours. If Nigeria can adopt that and don't use this Gregorian calendar and wasting people's time, take the hours. A course is 15 hours. Let's start from there. Work out. I'm going into the solution right now. 15 hours. 15 hours. I mean, sorry, 45 hours for a semester. So how do we achieve 45 hours for a particular course? That should be the main issue on the table, not Gregorian days and times and month of the year. All that will set us back. Let us work on hours, because it is the hour that make up a semester. 45 hours make up, 45 hours is a semester. Hello?
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you.
And one information, one last information. Mr. McJob, I'm addressing Mr. McJob. Is he there?
Mr. McJob.
Is he there? It's not answering.
He's there. Go ahead.
No. But he's. I want to hear his voice. I have something personal to say.
You can go ahead, Prof.
Okay. All right. I'm a foundation member of McJob Grammar School in Abeokuta. His grandfather's school. I just wanted to point that out to him. It's an opportunity because we may not meet again.
Oh, that is Otumba Bola. He's online. Yes, he's online.
Is he there?
Hello, Professor.
Yes.
Hello.
You knew my grandfather?
Yes, yes. I went to when McJob was first instituted in 1961. If you have the record, I'm there. It was from there I went to Ondo Grammar School. So I think I remember some of your cousins or brothers.
Shola is in America. If you saw McJob Grammar School, you will win.
Yes. I know Shola when he was. I know Shola when he was a boy.
There's goats in the classrooms. There's trees growing up in the buildings.
Yes, I just want to let you know, because when I saw McJob, that's a startup. That was my first school before I went to Ondo Grammar School.
Thank you, Prof, for sharing this with me.
Thank you very much, Prof.
You see how the world turns around?
The world is a global village. Thank you very much, Prof. Let's hear from a Senior Special Assistant to the President on Youth and Students Affairs, represented by Dr. Aminu Ishaku. Please, can you give a 1 minute closing remark, please? 1 minute closing remark. Dr. Aminu Ishaku. Okay, let's keep waiting for Doctor. Prince Victor Aluberi is the public secretary of the Nigerian Youth Congress. He has been very fantastic. I think you can give a remark. Just 1 or 2 minutes, please.
1 minute. Good evening, everybody. I am Prince Victor Aluberi, the public secretary of Nigeria Youth Congress. It is a delight to be part of this wonderful e-summit. And it has been a wonderful interaction this evening and very educating too, because it provides us an opportunity to ensure that our education system is properly attended to. It is on this note, I sincerely want to appreciate the Commander-in-Chief of all youths in Nigeria, my capacity president, Blessing Akisolotu, for his great vision to drive our education system and also to bring youth to the promised land. Also, I want to appreciate the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Youth and Student Affairs, Honorable Nasiru Adama, for his support and cooperation and also collaboration to make this event a success. I also want to thank our special guest of honor, His Excellency, Engineer Abdullahi A. Sule, the Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, created his time out of his busy schedule to attend this function. I don't fail to recognize our keynote speaker, the Minister of State for Education, Honorable Chukwuemeka Nwajuba. It was indeed a wonderful time having you. Your insight and contribution surely to our education system that it ought to be. I won't fail to recognize my superior, a man I respect so much, Dr. Yakubu Shendan, the chairman governing board of Nigerian Youth Congress. You're an awesome person. I will pray that God continue to give you the strength to propel our organization. My special thanks also go to our guests of honors and our other guests. I want to appreciate Honorable Shinopela, that is a member of Federal House of Representatives. I also want to appreciate Obiame, the founding Chancellor, American Heritage. I also want to appreciate our guest speaker, Professor George Owunari. We need men like this to pilot our academic affairs where we ought to be, and we believe God will give him the strength. I also want to appreciate Abjo Utumba, who happens to be a member of our governing board too, and also Dr. Helen Sukari. I also want to appreciate Dr. Bernard, Professor Bernard Odor, and everyone that participated in this event. I can't appreciate you enough. You made us proud, and we are sure that our educational system will see daylight. And I also want to contribute to this to tell the Minister of State that there are things we actually have in our syllabus that shouldn't be there. Example for Trans 77, we are in a jet age where everything is going E. Instead of for Trans 77, I will say, let us introduce HTML, basic HTML, and any other programming language. And I wish everyone a great evening. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Minister, who is also a very young person, will continue to associate, collaborate with the Nigerian Youth Congress in our subsequent program, because we have lined a lot of programs we want to be carried out on almost weekly or not a monthly basis to conscientize and create awareness in the country. So I think mine is like, we hope that the minister will advise the appropriate authorities on what to do in terms of promoting education, which is the bedrock of national development. So mine is just appreciation. I'm so much happy, and I thank my friend from London, the BBC guy. We hope, I say, you should not only, you should put the Nigerian Congress in international level. I remember sometime I was in the United States where I was a guest of the Department of Public Information of the United Nations. So take the Congress to the international community and also get our young people who are outside there in London to make a contribution back home, also to address the youth and the country. Like the minister said so dispassionately, there's something actually wrong with this our country. I don't know whether it's leadership or the followers. So in which anyway, we will have to get a solution to them. And he is going to be part of that solution. So thank you, Honorable Minister. I appreciate it. I will give you a private call to thank you once again on this appearance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, before we round it up, just 1 minute. 1 minute, please, closing remark and we end the program. Thank you.
Oh, okay. First of all, I want to thank our president for being indefatigable. I also want to express my appreciation to our chairman, Honorable Yakubu Chendam. We've not met personally, but we've bonded from the first day we met, you know, because we all have shared views. I just want to appreciate everybody, and I guess, like me, how amazing was the Minister for State on Education? How amazing was the governor of Nasarawa State? You read a lot about these people, you feel like they don't know what they are doing, they are not interested, they are lazy, but you meet them in person and they show you that they're actually doing their best. So for me, I get inspiration from that, knowing that we should give these people a chance, do our bit to assist them, and hopefully we can all have the Nigeria that we desire. But as long as the youth is the future of our country, and we, as the Nigeria Youth Congress, are the state, you know, we are the ones who are manning the ship. It's upon us to do our best to make sure that everything works out well. So, without talking too much, I just want to thank everybody that has participated today, and those of us that have stayed for 2 hours to be part of this conference. God bless you. I look forward to another time, and I wish everybody all the best in everything that we do.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me first and foremost appreciate the Honorable Minister, Chukwuemeka Uwajua. He has always been a compassionate humanity. I sincerely appreciate the Governor of Borno State. The Governor of Borno State was represented by Professor Hussaini. He was presently in a meeting with the Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs. I got that message. The Governor of Oyo State, we appreciate you. We understand what happened in Oyo State. He has promised to be live with us, but unfortunate incidents happened and rocked the country, and we all understand that the burial of our leader is still in progress, so the governor is still there. So let me appreciate all the speakers, all the Professor Emeritus, Professor this, Professor that. I sincerely need to appreciate all of you. Dr. Yakubu Chendam, Otumba Agbola Magjob, Dr. Ray, everybody who has contributed to the uniqueness of this program. We can only promise you that we are coming back, and we are coming back more better than this. Thank you. The Nigerian youth, we appreciate you. All the state chairmen, all the national officers, we sincerely appreciate you. Because of our time, all of us will not be able to speak, but we are assuring you that in the subsequent events, we are definitely going to have more guests that will be speaking. Thank you, and God bless you. We say thank you and goodbye. And let me promise this house that this video, a documentary, will be coming out very soon of this, and we also have a communique that will be submitted to the appropriate quarters. The Honorable Minister will receive, the National Assembly will receive, the Presidency will receive all these wonderful innovations that the emeritus professors have dropped down is going to be put together, and then we can now be able to go. Because of what Professor B.E. Tony Ogiame said, implementation is key, and we must pursue the implementation of all these lofty ideas. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you very much.